You look for every little thing. If I'm Johann Schopp right now, I'm in his head. I'm looking for that smooth asphalt and just trying to stay on top of that gear.
And that's where we are on the profile. The yellow strip is what's left in this climb to Snowbird for Stage 5, the Queen Stage here, the Larry H. Miller 2012 Tour of Utah. A climb, by the end of the day, 10,000 feet will have been put up in elevation, making it one of the toughest, if certainly in North America, and certainly this climb at this stage in this tour, it requires everything you have, and we've seen people who are not up to the measure of it today. Meantime, our leader, Johann Schopp, continues to be out front. Let's look at our distance. 40 seconds now, the peloton. It was 1:50 just a moment ago. So now just a 40-second difference, and that would not be good enough if Van de Velde can finish with the pack in the peloton. Even if Schopp pulls on, he needs to make up a minute of time to take over the yellow jersey.
And this may become a real bid for a stage win rather than a coup to get the yellow jersey, as it were. This is Ian Boswell, the man sitting in second on the road, as he continues to hammer away and try and close it down. You can see back behind him the men that are chasing, but Boswell is close. Now, Boswell is still in the hunt here for the stage. Oh, look at these two men coming up behind. It looks like a couple guys have attacked that chase group. That looks like Levi Leipheimer to me. It is far away, but that looks like the familiar form of the American Levi Leipheimer, who has gone clear of the other men. And look at that group behind, has exploded trying to respond to that acceleration.
Yeah, he's dragging a group of 4 or 5 riders with him as you got the aerial look here. Meantime, Schopp continues to hang on to the lead, and hang on is the operative word right now. 4.7K. or 2.9 miles remaining. And the group's coming up very quickly behind Boswell. And it is Levi Leipheimer. You called it correctly, Todd.
Well, it certainly looked like him. The question is that Joseph Dombrowski on his wheel? And if it is, take your hat off for the Bontrager Livestrong team, because they've got 2 men up in the top 5 right now.
This is Tanner's Flat. This is where the crowds will start to thicken. And of course, the good news about the crowd, you get the energy. The bad news is there's always the possibility that somebody dressed in a floppy hat and a dress as a guy might just run in front of a cyclist, as that young man did right there. But you got to feed off the energy of the crowd, and Leipheimer just pushing.
Yeah, Leipheimer is there. That is Dombrowski on his wheel, the young man who just won the Baby Giro earlier this year. So he's got Ian Boswell in front of him on his team. Leipheimer trying to close it down. We were talking about this maybe being a chance for Leipheimer to get the stage. This is Boswell, second man on the road.
Talked about Dombrowski Baby Giro. He looks like he's about 13 years old. He's baby-faced. He's 21 years old, but he is part of this climb now, trying to reel them in. And here comes Levi Leipheimer dragging that group along, closing in on Boswell as we get closer and closer to the summit here at Snowbird. 8,100 feet they will finish, 2.1 miles remaining, and our leaders are now over 4 hours and 9 minutes in.
Well, look at this. This is telling us a whole lot right now. Levi Leipheimer has gotten rid of Tom Danielson. He's gotten rid of Christian Van de Velde. He's gotten rid of Piet Stetina. He's gotten rid of Zabriskie. If Levi had not lost 2 minutes in the team time trial, guess who would be in the yellow jersey right now?
Question is, how much time can he find today? How far back will Van de Velde finish? And will Dombrowski be able to come up here and maybe take this thing? We talked young legs earlier. It doesn't get any younger than Joe Dombrowski.
Yeah, now he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet off the bike, but you put him on a summit finish like this, and he is a stone-cold killer. He will do everything he can to get the stage win here today. And you know, one of the other things about these mountain climbers is none of them typically have a good sprint, so it could be very interesting watching these guys duel it out.
And it's not going to be a very long sprint, because once they turn off the canyon road and the climb, it is no longer an uphill grade as they take that last 350 meters. If anything, it's downhill, so they will not be required to sprint for very long to win this thing.
So still Schopp, a veteran of 9 Grand Tours. And to me, this does look like Koenig, the NetApp rider from the Czech Republic, who is in this group as well.
Now look down.
I'm sorry, that's Bartosz Huzarski. Huzarski actually second in a stage of the Giro d'Italia earlier this year, uphill finish. He has a wicked kick at the end. If these guys catch up to Schopp, my money immediately goes to Huzarski, the NetApp man, for the stage win.
Passing 3K to go. Schopp continues to lead. How much does he have left in the tank is the question mark. Chope, who made a move early and has led most of the way up this climb, finally reeling in Jesse Anthony. And again, how much has it taken out of him? Does he have enough to finish this one?
And I'm going to correct myself. That is Koenig, the Czech rider in that group. It's not Huzarski. So, but Koenig we've also seen has a good finish. So we've got Levi Leipheimer on the front. We have behind him, that is Joe Dombrowski. Then back behind him, that's Koenig, Leopold Koenig. And on the back, that's Ian Boswell. So 3 Americans, 1 from the Czech Republic here. And then up the road, it is the Swiss man, Johann Chope. These are the top 5 on the road. And look at Levi doing all the work. Nobody giving him any help at all. And you know, the thing is, when you're sitting on the wheel of Levi Leipheimer and he's drilling it like this, you're afraid if you take a pull, you may not get back on. We did see Koenig just a minute ago roll through, but for the most part, they're looking at Levi to close this one down. Yeah,
and Leipheimer didn't expect any help, by the way, as he said earlier. Listen, he's a 2-time winner, back-to-back, 2010, 2011. The misfortune that it occurred, he incurred in the team time trial in stage 2. A lot of riders felt, okay, this is my chance to get Levi. So don't expect any help from anybody else as you look at Chope. And there he is on the lead, still grinding for the finish of this Queen Stage, Stage 5 of the 2012 Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah.
Well, if Chope can hold on to this will be massive for him. This is a guy that only has 2 professional victories in his career. He's ridden 9 Grand Tours. He got a Grand Tour stage victory in 2010 in the Giro d'Italia in the Queen Stage, and then a smaller race in Africa he won a couple years before that. Those are the only victories to his career. If he could win here today, he will be one happy man.
Well, the Grand Tour, the 3, the España, the Spain, of course, Giro d'Italia in Italy, and we all know the Tour de France, kind of like the majors in golf. You get those 3 and they're contested within a short time span of one for the other, and that's the Grand Tour. So a stage win even in a Grand Tour is like holding the leaderboard after a round of a major in golf. But Chope right now up on the pedals, out of the saddle again as he can smell home. The question is 1.1 miles. I drove this today coming up with a whole different respect for the drive. I've driven to Snowbird thousands of times, and yet this morning as I drove it in the car, I imagined being on a bicycle and riding this thing up here. It gave me a whole new perspective. 2K, you see, he's just passing the sign for 2 kilometers to home.
Yeah, it's just about 1.4 miles for him, and actually 1.2 miles for him. And I don't know exactly, is this 30 seconds to this group here? I think it is. So he has 30 seconds advantage. He's doing very well, but you know what? After I opened my big mouth yesterday and said the breakaway was going to succeed, and they had 35 seconds with 1.5 miles to go and they got caught, I think I'll be quiet today.
I just want you to know, most analysts would not go on a limb like that, and even when you saw it off on yourself, I think it's okay. So we appreciate the boldness. You can get most aggressive jersey in the booth tomorrow.
Yeah,
how's that, okay?
Thank you.
I'll
look for one of those. Will you present it to me?
I'll put the polka dots on it tomorrow. Ours has green polka dots on it. Now look at Chope, the lead rider still. And it's showing 32nd on our graphic, 30 seconds the margin. If that's the case, he's in pretty darn good shape right now.
It really is, because these guys are at 2K now.
So it is 30
You know
at
what,
least.
I'm just going to go out on a limb again and say, I'm not going to say he's got it, but I'm going to say he almost has it. We'll give him a little more time. Chope is putting in an incredible ride here. And, you know, the question is, what's going to happen in the general classification? It's going to be changing today, and the question is how. There's going to be a lot of motion. We saw Van de Velde get dropped. Now Danielson is not in our picture either. He was the next best guy in the general classification. Zabriskie, we haven't seen him for a while. Peter Stetina, we haven't seen him for a while. Wilco Kelderman, we haven't seen him. Kruijswijk, we haven't seen him. Bennett, Horner, none of these guys have we seen. So who knows what's going to happen to the general classification today? It is going to be radically different in the next 15 minutes of the bike race.
That's something you'll want to stick around for even after the race is over. The result is one thing, the stage win is one thing, but the general classification, of course, is the big thing. Who will wear yellow at the end of the day?
And the only man we have in the top 15 that we're seeing on our cameras right now is Johann Chope. He came in 14th, 1 minute down. None of the other top 14 guys are up here in the top 5. The question is, what's behind this group and what dynamic is playing out? What is Tom Danielson able to salvage? What is Chris Horner back there able to salvage, and so on?
And of course, where does Christian Van de Velde finish? How far back did he drop? You could see that he was in real trouble earlier. Looks like there's another group coming up behind the group with Levi in it. 3-rider group trying to catch them as we move inside a mile and a half or so remaining in this race. But Chop continues to lead. Can he hang on? Look at the cadence there. He's just working hard to try and get to the entrance here of Snowbird. If he gets there with any kind of a lead at all, that last 350 meters, he will cruise home as he starts to get into some of the crowd again just before the entrance to the Snowbird Ski Resort.
Now, last year on this climb, Danielson.
Listen to his team director giving him the attaboys and let's go and pumping him up, and it works as he starts to grind again.
Yeah, that's Mike Sayers, and look at Levi putting in a big surge here. Koenig at the back there, Dombrowski getting on the wheel. Look at this now, Boswell going on the attack, countering the young Boswell, saying, look, Levi, I have a lot of professional respect for you, but I'm sorry, I'm going to have to attack you now.
Well, and he's not going to get away because they're not going to allow him to, but Boswell working hard in this group.
And now we're going to have the old 1-2, and Dombrowski's got to attack, and it looked like Levi might be getting gapped off, and that's 1K to go for them, 0.6 of a mile. Shop well inside of that.
And Shop still in the saddle right now, very close. There's the first entry to the Snowbird Resort right here. And look at him as he approaches right here. Once he gets to the orange barricades, he'll have about 350 meters to go. And he's just about to enter that right now. Now it's downhill for 350 meters, and that's all that stands between Johann Shop and a Stage 5 win here in the 2012 Tour of Utah.
Well, he's just seconds away from the second biggest victory of his entire career. A veteran of 9 Grand Tours, a winner of a stage in the Giro d'Italia. This Swiss rider here is going to get the Queen stage in Utah.
They will not catch him now. Johann Shop coming down the final couple of 100 meters. He looks comfortable in the saddle, and he's greeted by the crowd. Here he comes. They'll make the swing and the turn for home. You'll see the finish line and the time clock in just a moment, and there it is. Johann Shop has won the Queen stage of the 2012 Tour of Utah.
The 30-year-old Swiss climbing specialist had an incredible ride. Now Leopold Koenig has gone on the attack, the Czech rider, and it looks to me like that's Dombrowski chasing him. I do not think that was, maybe that was Boswell. Either way, we have Koenig here riding in for second. Well, look at this time gap here. This is important. What is going to happen in the general classification?
As he crosses the finish line, the gap is, well, he hasn't yet. He's still got to make this final turn. That's a long 350 meters, and I'm sure it feels long to the guy on the bike, but right now the time behind the leader comes across at 45 seconds or so. Let's see. We're still watching the clock roll.
That is actually Ian Boswell there in third.
So I think there's about 44 seconds between second place.
Yep, here comes Levi Leipheimer. So everybody's sort of stringing through here. That's Lucas User for Spider Tech.
And the key is, where is Van de Velde? Where does the yellow jersey leader come in? Leipheimer was a little over a minute behind the leader.
Okay, Shop was a minute down coming in. Here he is. So definitely Shop has passed Van de Velde here. He's got Horner on his wheel. I did not see Danielson yet, so Shop may have moved in. That was Brent Bookwalter just crossing the line. A lot of chaos here on this final climb.
So over a minute and a half. Van de Velde grinding now, trying to get under the clock as quickly as possible. So he's about a minute 38, we believe, behind the leader. So as you said, definitely a change in the yellow jersey. The only question is, how much time does Levi Leipheimer make up? And what does it do to the GC? Smarter minds than mine will have to figure that out.
Well, there's a lot of heavy math going on right now. All these different guys split up, just 1s and 2s and 3s as they come to the line. And that was Kelderman there. The unzipped jersey on the right came into the day in 5th place as the Subaru Best Young Rider. He may be saying goodbye to that today.
We have an unofficial top 10 ready, so I told you there are many brighter minds than mine out there.
Oh, look at this. Now, this is our stage results for his team. Now, we have noticed his team's got some depth, but tomorrow is a brutal day.
Just some of the scenery around Snowbird, and if you haven't been here, folks, you need to plan a trip. It is some of the most spectacular scenery in America, whether you ski or you want to recreate in the summer here. The Snowbird Resort can take care of any of your needs, but mountain biking and hiking and opportunities for ATV riding, the fishing, it's just a wonderful recreation area in those beautiful cloudless skies today, and that's a rarity in the month of August in the afternoon here in the state of Utah. We've seen it the rest of the week. We've seen those big thunder bumpers building. Well, today there is no such problem. And there's a look at Joe Dombrowski, the young man that we said. Now take a look, 21 years of age. He's going to get carded when he goes in to buy milk, okay?
Yeah, for the next 10 years.
But this is a guy who showed his mettle today in the mountains. And we told you he won the Baby Giro, which is the mini Giro d'Italia, and a guy who got a lot of confidence from that. He said after that win, it just kind of let him know he could play with the big boys.
Yeah, he was also a player in the Queen stage of the Tour of California earlier this year, finishing 4th on that summit finish up Mount Baldy. Pretty tough day, but not as hard as today, thank you very much.
And there's Leopold Koenig.
He's the rider from Czech Republic, and on that team out of Germany, Team NetApp. And he's their climber on that squad, and also was sprinting pretty well. He was up there in the top 10.
Well, it's interesting because we saw all the jockeying at the front of the peloton, the chase groups that reel them back in, the bridges today, and at the end of the day, we wind up with a couple of guys who come out of the pack for 2nd and 3rd. But of course, hanging on for the win.
The Exergy Development Group. Please welcome with BMC, Johann Schopp.
There we go. Well, it took the PA guy a second to find him. But he's got the stage win, and he's got the yellow jersey to go along with it.
Oh, he's just building a little suspense for everybody. And that stage win, as we already saw, the yellow jersey, BMC. Notice the jersey already has his team name on it, BMC. That's because they screen it right as soon as they know, and that's how they all look so nice. When I was racing, they didn't already have that capability, so they had to put on a sticker. It was
it took a long time.
Kind of sad.
It took a long time to chip that stuff into stone as well when you were racing. And there we go.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Our stage winner in stage 5, the Queen stage. And Johann Schopp stands atop the podium, back with more coverage of the 2012 Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah in just a moment.
Utah is a great place to ride for all the beautiful scenery. Every time I get out, I feel like my spirit is refreshed. The geography in Utah is very unique, and I've been all around the world. You just don't find the high mountains and the desert and the red rocks and the aspen trees and the Great Salt Lake. It's all very unique. Definitely, worth a trip.
The Park City to Snowbird stage, stage 5 in the Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah, is now in the books, won by Johann Schopp. But one of the top performers today is with Sammy Linebaugh. Sammy.
Joe, congratulations. When you made the break and kind of went for it, what were you seeing ahead of you and what were you thinking?
Well, I knew there was a guy up the road, and there was only a few of us left in that lead group. It was a pretty elite group because it was down to about 10 guys, and then Levi attacked, brought it down to about 4, and then we were going back and forth with attacks in the last few kilometers.
Okay, so you're watching Levi. You won the Giro Bio earlier this year, the Baby Giro. Nothing baby about that race. Is it in your mind that I'm 21 and there's Levi and there are these veterans?
Yeah, this season's been a good confidence boost for me, and I've had success like at the Baby Giro and some of the amateur races, and then to come race with the pros like Levi and see what I can do at California, it sort of makes you believe you can ride on that level.
What were you seeing today of Garmin? Were you kind of seeing them in your view?
Yeah, Stetina was riding towards the bottom of the climb for Danielson and Van de Velde, but they sort of faded at the end, and didn't really make the split there.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Of course, you've been staying for the past couple weeks at the base of Empire Pass, talking about tomorrow. You're dreaming about it, aren't you?
Yeah, we're both, me and Boswell are both pretty excited about it for sure.
Get after it. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, Sammy, thank you. We're all excited about the culminating stage tomorrow. We'll be back with a look ahead. Welcome back. Stage 5 in the books. Stage 6 tomorrow. We talk to the riders. Let's take a close-up look at what they're going to experience in the final stage.
Levi on Twitter put, "Hey, Tour Utah, how about this climb next year?" And it was a link to his Map My Ride site, and it showed that he climbed up the backside of Garson's, up to Empire Pass.
I wrote it after the race in training, and I sent Steve Miller an email. I said, "You got to throw this climb in there. It's brutal. It's one of the hardest climbs I've ever ridden."
It was a really interesting course, and we looked at the profile on it, and we were kind of shocked at
The best young rider.
Joe, congratulations, 21 years old, the best young rider here. Also looks like 4th overall in the general classification. Talk about the climb and the whole race, and how did you feel today?
Thanks, yeah, I was really looking forward today. I knew it was going to be a really decisive final climb. And I tried to attack on the first steep section, but it was so steep that it was almost too slow to get away. And went with a few moves, and eventually Levi got away and just kind of finished in the lead group. And I think there were maybe 5 or 6 of us that came down the descent together and just finished in the bunch, and I think I ended up 4th overall and kept the jersey, so pretty happy with that.
Okay, Empire Pass, you've done a lot of biking in your young life. How do you compare it? What do you think?
Yeah, you know, earlier this year I did Baldy in California and I did the Gavi at the Baby Giro, but I think that's one of the hardest climbs I've ever done.
You'll give it one of the hardest. Okay, we got to ask you about your podium yesterday. You're heading back up there now. Didn't exactly want to go between those 2 girls and get that kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, but I'll be looking forward to it today.
Go get him.
Thanks.
And there you go. This was yesterday right here. Okay, it was kind of like, okay, I have to do this. Okay. You know what? He's a slow learner, but he can learn. As you heard, he said, not exactly, it was kind of new to him, but today he said, I'll be looking forward to it. Now, there's a young man who's got the right idea.
I think he's going to get used to it. He's going to have to, and he was kind of shy yesterday, so I'm glad Sammy pried it out of him today to find out what was going on.
We had to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, the videotape, you have to ask him. But Joe Dombrowski is one of those names in American cycling that we're going to be hearing an awful lot about, I think, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, at his age, to have the results that he's having, I mean, look at the guys he's ahead of in the general classification. Guys like Chris Horner, guys like Levi Leipheimer. I mean, these are Grand Tour veterans. These are guys who are some of the best riders in the world for the last 10 years. So it's huge for him.
The books, not only the stage, but the entire race. And look, there's Dombrowski. Now, this is rerun. You don't get do-overs very often, but Joe Dombrowski won his stage yesterday. Now it's like, what are we waiting for, girls? Come on, come on. There you go. As of yesterday when he kind of a little bit shy. And no, look, he's not wanting to leave today.
Yeah, he's coming around.
There you go. Give it to Joe, baby.
Subaru, best young rider. He earned it. Moved up to 4th overall today. Best young rider as well. He spent a bunch of time before this race at the bottom of Empire Pass. It certainly paid off.
The award jerseys being presented here. You know, the town is going to be buzzing tonight. This is a great town for nightlife anyway, and now the riders are done. Everybody is going to be excited, and it'll be a great place to be in Park City, Utah.
Yeah, this is Rory Sutherland. He's getting the Exergy Development Group's most aggressive rider jersey for the day. He was in that breakaway of 11 guys. He actually hunted down Timmy Duggan, who had gone off on the bottom of the climb, passed him, was out there for a while on his own. Levi caught him, but eventually got rid of him.
Back with a concluding look at the 2012 Tour when we return to Park City right after this.
2012 Larry H. Miller Tour.
Park City, Utah, and it is a festive occasion because at the podium we're looking at the presentation of jerseys. They're the jersey winners. And Todd Gogolski, let me just ask you your reflections on this week for the 2012 Tour.
Breakout race for Johann Schopp, winning his first ever overall stage race. Joe Dombrowski continues to impress.